when you want to understand exactly what people value as their culture and their way of life, you should know from the beginning how they greet each other. So what is the central greeting of Somali? Somali siday isu bariidisa, bariido, meaning greeting, bariido. Siday isu salaanta. What is that central word, the word which they say when they want to greet to each other? Yeah, what is that? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum is Arabic statement. Good. That is an Islamic greeting common for all Muslims. But what is the exact Somali greeting which is the nucleus? Yeah. Subax wanaagsan. You know, Subax wanaagsan, very good. We hear nowadays. But could it be possible that Subax wanaagsan was just a mere translation of good morning? They simply translated good morning because those cultures that say good morning, good evening, did you ask what is good about the morning, by the way? What is good about the morning? Why is there a bad morning and a good morning? Still, yeah, I'm trying to hear the good word you like in that culture, that good particular word which you say, when I meet with you, how would you greet me? Sidetai, good, very good. Approaching, sidetai meaning, how are you? What is the response for that? When somebody asks you, sidetai, what do you say? Wafi'anahay. Wafi'anahay is not the right word. Good. Yeah, I'm good. You are saying, how are you? I'm good. But better, there is another word which you use. Iska, no. Iska is not even good. Oh, listen. Now, in all these questions, there is only one response. When you say, Iska warran, how are you? We say, that response. When it says, how did you spend last night? Halay maxaa lagu beriyey? We use the same word as a response. When it says, hi, haye, we make the same response. When it says, setai, malafaya, you still gave that response. And that one word, which is the center of all this greeting, with which we respond to any question in asking, how are you, how did you spend your life, how are you feeling, and everything, there is that one answer, Khair, good. Yeah, we are approaching. But there is one kind of khair, but what is that khair? Stand up. There she said at last. Very good. That is the correct answer I was looking for. Can we hear? Maxaa dhahday sheeg. Maxay dhahday? Miyaa maqasheen? Waxay tiri nabad. Great. Nabad. Peace. Yeah. So somebody is responding to when it says, how are you? It says, I'm in peace. How did you spend your night? In peace. How do you feel? In peace. So we could understand how peace is so important and highly valued as a greeting. You know, as I was saying, good morning, good evening, and good day is just a mere translation, maybe from some other cultures. A day is different. Any morning, maybe those cultures where the fluctuation of the climate and the weather of the day, if it is snowing and there is that storm, then it might be it is not good morning. But when the day is even, and every day, even in winter or summer, has the difference of temperature is only 1 degree or 2 or 3, not more than 5 degrees between the summer and the winter, then every day is a shiny day, and you were not necessarily to pick up your day as whether it is a good morning or not. But the word nabat is that. Okay, how do we proceed when we say nabat in greeting? Sometimes people who have time, the word fi'an, please, in our greeting was not original too. It was some foreign doctors came to the country and they wanted to visit or talk to their patients. So they say, Hanun, pain. They say, fi'an, good. Somebody was limited in their vocabulary, and that came up whenever they greet each other, they simply say, fi'an. Mostly Chinese doctors and workers in the country introduced the word, something is fi'an, into our greeting that didn't exist before. So use the word nabat, which translated already as peace. Others thought that when I asked them, what is nabat? They say, oh, nabat. Looks like to be not bad. Not bad. Okay. Forward to the cultural part. Abdul Qadir mentioned about all this history, but writing, yeah. These are the nomadic. When we were talking about the nabat, assalamu alaikum and other greetings are so common, and not only the word, that peace, whatever the question, the answer is nabat, which means even when you leave somebody saying bye-bye, you will say nabat gelyo. You will still talk about the peace. Or nabadino is the answer, or noli kulante. It's just a word for goodbye. When we exactly want to measure how prosperous and good the situation is, we talk about ano iyo nabat. Yes, peace and milk. Yeah, these people having animals, they need the rain, the water, and that is how ano comes, the milk. Not barely, literally the milk. It is anything good or prosperity is exampled by the milk. Yeah, let us proceed maybe into here and there. Subax wanaagsan, galab wanaagsan, where I just want to pass, boy, the language. Now, let me leave that history. In that, any culture of some people is mostly based on their way of life, how they make their living. In in Somali areas, some people mostly look after animals. They are animal herders mostly. 70% of the people possess thousands of animal heads. The largest camel population in the world is said to be available in Somalia. Back in 1987, when census was made, there were only 10 million people and about 6 million camels there. The same thing as the cattle and mostly sheep and goats, horses. Now, if we possess all these animals, do you know, let me ask you, when you go there to that culture or to that country, people will ask you, what is the name of a little kid of a sheep or of a goat or of a camel or of a cattle? How would you know? Nail yaa dhalay. Nail hooyadeed waa tahay. Nail yaa maqlay. Lo. Haddaad ku qosasheen miyaad garateen inuu khalday? Nail. War Nail yaa dhalay. Hal is too big, the camel. Nile. The ram. It's from the sheep. Saad u xusuusato. Be attentive. Now, saad u xusuusato. Waxaan idiin sheegayaa ereyo aad ku heestaan. Ardaydayda waaweyn, my students there in the university, when they couldn't differentiate which animal kid is from the goat or the sheep or the cattle or the camel, I gave them this song. So say after me, please. Waxaad tiraahdaa Nail aabaheed waa wan. Say. Nail aabaheed waa wan. Laxdu hooyadeed weeye. Waxara hooyadeed waa ri. Orgi aabaheed weeye. Nail hooyadeed waa lax. Wanku aabaheed weeye. Wiil hooyadeed waa sac. Dibi aabaheed weeye. Nirig hooyadeed waa hal. Rati aabaheed weeye. Ana hooyaday waa dad. Ninku aabahay weeye. Maxaan idin iri? You see people looking after the whole day these animals, and it is only in the evening when the family come together at home. So what do? Why do we have these important stories in here? In Somali culture, when the family come together in the evening, before the animals are milked, the animals have to get rested. A rest. Animals rest. If they don't rest, and as soon as you bring them in the yard, if you try to milk, you will not get a lot of milk. Getting a rest, the lactation is more milk comes. Now, whether the cattle or the camel or the sheep are milked in different times, how are they timed? In the early evening, there is a star, not really a star, it is a planet, which is called Harahid, the evening star. The level of the evening star tells you when to milk each animal. It is setting down. So, in that culture, the whole family will sit around the fire in the agricultural places or in the animal herding places. And children, before they feel asleep, when the grains are being cooked or the animals are getting rest to be milked, they have to get an education. Children have to get all the stories, and that is how the storytelling goes around the fire. People sit around the fire. In Somali culture, there is no one person who is supposedly to be a storyteller. Every elder should be able to tell a story. So when your habo or edo or abti comes visit us at home, now you can ask them and say, get a cup of tea and tell me a story. They will be able to tell you the story. What they do around the fire is that children learn all these stories, and that is how I was able to write. These stories are the ones that I heard when I was young around the fire, so that they will tell me an interesting information around the environment. It is in that situation where I learn which are the good plants to give to each animal. What is the correct soil to take or farm? How should I do milking? What were my ancestors and how the historical family tree is to be studied? All this information and education goes around the fire where people learn, children learn, and pass from one generation to another generation to know exactly every bit. And that is how important is storytelling in that culture. I remember here in the States, why I started campaigning and advocating this Somali language was that back in 2004, when school invited me to read a story, a book, a Somali story to the class, and parents, both parents and children. As I sat there, I said, yes, let me read for you Somali words. These children couldn't believe that there was a written Somali. All the young children in elementary school came down and ended and landed on my lap here to see if really the language I was reading was written in Somali. That means they had no idea that the Somali language had an alphabet and that can be read. Here it goes. Sometimes I proceed. Now I have to end up with this way. Qayb libah, lion's share. What a luck on such a bright day. The beasts of prey were hunting together in the forests of Somalia. Late in the afternoon, they found a big fat camel. The beasts attacked, and chasing the camel away from the rest of the herd, they caught it and killed it. Then together they dragged the camel's body under a shady acacia tree at the dry river bed. Gathering around their kill, each of them waited patiently for a bite. In spite of their hunger, none dared to catch the meat without the lion's permission. The lion roared, raising his bushy mane to warn the animals not to eat before he gave his approval. All were silent. Picking the eldest of the hyenas, the lion ordered, "You, Ali, the short leg, you suggest the best way of dividing the meat among the clan." The hyena moved forward. "Yes, my lord." He thought for a moment and said, "Of the whole camel, half and half is for our king. Half and half. Half is for our king." He cleared his throat and said, "And the other half is for the rest of us to divide fairly among us." The mighty lion suddenly jumped at the old hyena and slapped his face. The hyena's eye fell out of its socket. He limped away in disgrace, and the rest of hyenas followed him. The lion roared and again and said, "You see, Ali the hyena did not know the proper way of dividing the meat among us." He glared at the other animals and finally pointed to the fox. "You, Dayo," that's the nickname of the fox, "you, Dayo, the lady fox, let us see if you do better than that unwise hyena in dividing the meat." The fox crawled forward and with fear looked at the rest of the frightened beasts. She bowed before the king and whispered, "Very well, half and half. Half of the camel meat will go to our great king, and the other half," she paused as the lion interrupted her with a fierce look. But the fox quickly continued, "Of the other half, quarter and quarter. 1/4 is also for our noble king. Of the other quarter, 1/8 and 1/8. 1/8 is also for the beloved king. Of the other 1/8, 1/16 and 1/16. Before the fox finished the statement, the lion broke out in laughter, and all other animals pretended to join the laughter to please him. 1/6 of is for me too, he declared. Then the lion continued, "Wonderful Lady Fox, who taught you this proper way of dividing the meat?" The fox smiled, bowed before the king, and replied, "Your Majesty, I have learned my lesson from the eye that is hanging from the hyena's cheek." The beasts groaned in low voices and now understood the real meaning of the lion's share. The lion pulled away his huge share into his den. The rest of the animals competed for the leftovers, although they all worked in hunting the animal. Most of them got very little to eat and were still hungry. They left with grief and spread out in the forest, chanting, "The lion's share is not fair. The lion's share." Sing, the lion's, sing with the animals. The lion's share is not fair. The lion's share is not fair. The lion's share. Is the lion's share fair?
No.
So,
Almost all.
yeah. The idiom is not used the same way as in English to say lion's share. That means a person played a great role in doing something, but this story was so much used even in politics. With the British rule, I heard some elderly men reading it to the Somalis or telling the story to show how the colonizers took the big share of what was available in the country. And it is used in every culture how when sharing is not fair. So lion's share is not fair. Thank you.
Let's give a big hand to our